I don't think it was entirely you, because I think that they do label it in some texts as that. So what is this, people?
That's an ovary.
It's an ovary. What is the biggest thing on this ovary? Boom.
Corpus luteum right there.
That's the corpus luteum. Yeah, the giant thing. How do you know that that's a corpus luteum?
It's
Giant.
Because it's giant.
How do you tell the difference between that and corpus albicans?
So a corpus albicans would not be taking up the entire space of an ovary.
What magnification is this?
This is the 4x. Because see, if I can go all the way around, I've got entire cross section of an ovary. You've got the capsule all the way around.
Would it be much darker as well?
It would be much darker. It would also look much more condensed. So you would see a lot more nuclei in a smaller space if it was an albicans.
So the structures on the right side then?
Are follicles.
Yes.
That you're not getting a very good cross section through any of them, so that you can see the oocytes. See, because the oocytes are missing from pretty much all of them. But that's an albicans.
Where's that? That's luteum or albicans?
Or excuse me, corpus luteum. So let's go back to stuff. What is this?
That's the testis.
This is the testis. Because see, notice the tubules are really small. They're like perfect circles, and you can see lots of sperm in each of them.
Is there a way to specifically tell the difference between that?
Because I'm going to go up to higher magnification. You'll be able to go, oh, there's sperm in that versus, oh, there's no sperm in that.
Well, plus a good way is it's epithelium in the epididymis, and that's definitely not, looks like that's not.
Yeah.
Exactly. Spermies. Let me see if I can get the... So, let me go up to even higher magnification, actually. So several of you guys have been curious as to what a nurse cell looks like.
All of them, really. Primary, primary spermatid.
Let's see if I can get a good cut through a tubule here.
So, are we in the seminiferous tubule then? So the seminiferous tubules in cross section or something?
We're in the testis right now, so yeah. This one looks promising.
Looks like it hurts.
Oops, of course I bumped it and now lost it. Now this one will work too. No, but it's not as big because it doesn't have sperm on it. No, darn it.
I remember LL, like
Oh, this is nice. Okay.
Leydig.
So you don't always get a cut this good, but notice how you can see like long cells that have a lot of cytoplasm, and then you get stacks in between them. So sometimes a nuclei to one of these things is down here and goes all the way up. Sometimes it's not this clean of a cut, so here's another nucleus up here. It goes all the way up, and you can see the cytoplasm going boop, ba-doom, ba-doom, in between all of the spermatocytes. Okay.
Do those spermatocytes themselves not have their own cytoplasm? Because I can't really tell the difference between that one cell's cytoplasm and, when you say it goes boop, 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 I mean, they all looks like just I'm not seeing a real differentiation.
It's just kind of training your eyes. So like here would be the spermatocyte. See, right where I'm drawing the line.
And that's the cytoplasm of the spermatocyte?
That's the cytoplasm of the spermatocyte. This is the nurse cell.
Okay.
And you can see its cytoplasm going like this, and stopping right about here, and like that,
Okay.
and like
I do
that.
see that. It's like
and
darker, almost like darker streak.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like this would be the nucleus. Notice I can draw a line pretty much from that nucleus all the way up to the top. The other way you can find nerve cells is that if you've got the spermatids up here that are still, you can see more of their nuclei than what this cut is. You can look for gaps in between the spermatid nuclei at the top, and then follow that down. But what you're looking for is a nucleus that's kind of fat or kind of smashed up in here. And you want to be able to follow the cytoplasm from the bottom to the top. So like this would be one, and then you can kind of go like this, and like that, and like that to the top, and then you can go back down. And see how the cytoplasm here, you can see it really well because it's like darker for the nurse cell.
Yeah, that's obvious.
Yeah. And so like I would point out several of these to you. I'm not going to outline the cytoplasm, but I'd be like, here's a nuclei, and here's another one, and here would be another one.
We'd be able to see it like tracking down.
Yeah, so you're going to have to basically like outline that versus something like this, which is what?
Is that a primary?
That's a primary.
So where are the spermatogonium?
So the spermatogonia would be something like, I'm trying to find a good cut, like this one. Because notice it's like right next to the nurse cell, and it's the very most bottom that you can get pretty much.
Yeah.
So this would be like the spermatogonia, but you notice how the chromatin's different looking in the nucleus between here and here? So that would be the spermatogonia, like this guy and this guy, but then this guy would be like primary, and then you go up. I'm not going to ask you to tell me the difference between primary and secondary,
Okay.
but you should know the difference between a primary and like, what are these guys? Spermatids, yeah. So you should know the difference between them.
So should we do this between a spermatogonium and a primary?
Yes, you should also know the difference between a spermatogonium and a primary.
Could you show a couple more examples of the two different kinds?
So here's a spermatogonium. Here's a primary.
So is a primary lighter?
Primary's lighter. Notice its nucleus doesn't have as much of a condensed chromatin. And its cytoplasm, if it's a spermatogonia, is a little bit darker. Okay.
The cytoplasm is darker?
The cytoplasm on the spermatogonium is a little bit darker. The spermatocytes tend to get lighter cytoplasm as they go up because of the way that they're being sculpted by the nurse cell. So what's this one?
That looks like a spermatogonium.
Yes.
Which is a stem cell.
Which is
primary.
this? Primary. Okay, good. What about this one?
Probably a secondary.
Probably a secondary, but primary too. Okay. And what about this one?
Spermatogonium.
What about these three? Okay. Let me see. What about that one?
Nurse cell.
Nurse cell. Okay. So don't be fooled. Make sure that you can follow them all up because the nurse cell nuclei do look a lot like the spermatogonium nuclei. Okay. Let me show you a spermatid so that you can see spermatids a little bit
So
better.
it's on the spermatocyte. Spermatocyte. And then once it's in that lumen area.
So it goes like this. It goes spermatogonium, primary spermatocyte, secondary spermatocyte, primary spermatid.
So you can't always see these guys because of where they're sitting and because they can get stripped really easily by the cut.
What are they called? Spermatids, but they call them.
But see all these nuclei up here that are tiny and they're kind of elongated? And even though you can't see the tails, some of them look kind of long, but then some of them are kind of small, and you can't always see the tails attached, but you can definitely see the cytoplasm. Those would be the spermatids. So like that would be a nuclei, that would be a nuclei, that would be a nuclei, for example.
So if they have a tail, are they still called spermatids? Because the book.
They're spermatogonia until they're let go from the nurse cell. Right?
Well, I'm just this drawing. It says spermatids completing spermatogenesis, and they have a tail, but they're still their body's in the nurse cell. I mean, the body, the head,
and the neck in the middle section.
and then so they have these spermatocytes that look like cells for all intents and purposes. They look very similar to the secondaries. These ones are still called spermatids. These are the ones that are still cast in the cell, but they look like they have tails.
I think that they're still spermatids.
Yes, so these are spermatids.
Yeah.
So when they're released, though, they're spermatozoa.
Yeah.
Save the battery a little bit.
I know.